reliable local experts. Consider Access One. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One has you covered. Access One is Chicago-owned, Chicago-run, and serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore and everywhere in between. We're rated top 5% in customer satisfaction, a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business, and trusted by law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. Let's talk about making your IT work well. Call 800-654-1555 or visit AccessOneInc.com. That's AccessOneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
J.D. Vance on The View. It was something for those women to see a heterosexual man who wasn't a corrupt Marxist mafia member. We'll discuss that. And Kamala Harris back on tour. This time she's trying to keep her clothes on. That'll all be after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, we could see a shower or a heavy thunderstorm this afternoon with a high near 75. The FBI says several have been arrested, all connected with plans to attack that UFC event at the White House. Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Washington, D.C. holding primary elections today. President Trump says he believes a deal between the U.S. and Iran can hold, even if Israel continues its attacks in Lebanon. A proposal to sell Chicago's parking meters to a new company has been put on hold after a late proposal landed before a city council committee chair, Pat Dowell.
I have heard from a number of colleagues, both on the committee and not on the committee, that they need more time.
Many aldermen are demanding further answers before the project moves forward. The Bulls choosing Tiago Splitter as their new head coach. The first-place White Sox battle the Yankees in the Bronx. Edward Cabrera starting for the Cubs against the Rockies. The news, a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. Northwest Indiana's leading home builder. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks finishing mixed with the Dow notching its 17th record close of the year on Iran deal optimism. Oil prices fell and settled around their lowest level since the earliest days of the war, with West Texas Intermediate crude at around $76 a barrel. Tech was the worst performing sector, weighing on the tech-heavy NASDAQ, while industrials and financials gained. The Magnificent Seven big cap tech stocks finished mostly lower, led by Microsoft and Tesla. Shares of Elon Musk's SpaceX continue to take off and posting a third consecutive day of gains, with its stock up 5%. The Dow winners, Caterpillar, Goldman Sachs, and J.P. Morgan Chase. The Dow decliners, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Salesforce. The Dow rising 329 points, the NASDAQ lower by 308, S&P 500 lower by 43. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Larry Elder believes the rhetoric needs to be dialed down.
I want him to know how much the American people hate his guts.
Okay. It would just seem to me, after 3 assassination attempts, maybe, just maybe, you might want to turn down the rhetoric. Can you imagine if there had been 3 assassination attempts against Barack Obama? Can you imagine?
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Shaun Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Born on America's darkest day, 9/11/01, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping American heroes ever since. Heroes like FDNY Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough Jr. McDonough served at Ground Zero. He later lost his life to a related cancer. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to honor his sacrifice by paying off the family's mortgage. Donate $11 a month, and you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year at this time. All you have to do is pick up the phone and say, I want to provide a free ultrasound to a girl. Give her the chance to see the truth of what's happening in her body. Every $28 helps do that, saving one baby. $280 can do that, help save 10 babies. More does more. The phone number is 833-850-2229. 833-850-BABY. Join us saving babies with Preborn again this year. We're going to save hundreds of babies, one at a time, 2 or 5 or 10 at a time. That phone number again is 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/baby.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Going out on the Edens, that still remains wide open. Montrose out to Lake Cook Road, the Kennedy outbound. That is a 55-minute trip out to O'Hare from the Jane Byrne interchange, while the Eisenhower holds at about 1 hour. Post Office to 390. Stevenson, 50 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to the Veterans Memorial. Dan Ryan out 30 minutes. Delays in the express remain 35th to Marquette. Heavy also along DuSable Lakeshore Drive in both directions. You'll see tie-ups either way on the Tri-State. Reagan eastbound also heavy into the Tri-State. West looks pretty good. 355, no troubles. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 56. On Wednesday, there will be periods of rain and thunderstorms with some potentially severe storms developing late in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool, becoming breezy in the afternoon. These storms have the potential to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high temperature will reach 66 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
It's some sort of a conspiracy theory. Don't you love that expression? So let me understand this. When the evidence identifies the Democrat mafia as a money laundering system, as a policy creator, promises of nonsense and utopia, and then the money is stolen by the NGOs with their spouses linked to it, with their moron kids, with their crack-smoking degenerate sons, used as investments in China or Ukraine. And I identify it as exactly what it is and correlate it with the massive explosion in debt since this country was dumb enough to hire a bust-out with no resume, no achievements, a fraud who lived his entire life under a different name, the alias name of Barack Hussein Obama. And I link it to the Chicago Mafia, and the Mafia member is over. And we point out how the backdoor nationalization of the healthcare has destroyed healthcare, driven down life expectancy and costs up. Somehow I'm the conspiracy theorist? No. I have stumbled onto your conspiracy, number one. And number two, your entire philosophy is, in fact, a conspiracy. It doesn't live in reality. There is no real evidence. There's just promises and wishes and hopes. And the whole time, everything gets worse. You see, that's the irony of the American Democrat failure gangster pig, as they always stay on offense, never to answer any real questions, and then they throw accusations, which is why I could start today in a plethora of different ways, and everybody likes the usual topics. I don't do that. Odds are, if you've been hearing it all day, you will not hear it when I start my show, because the evidence of who we're dealing with is in such abundance. All you must do is pick them as they speak. Minutes ago, Tim Kaine. Now, here is a lawyer that never really was a lawyer. He just got a license to steal. That's when you pass the bar. In fact, he graduated cum laude. And one thing that's impressive about this ugly Democrat half man, he was shocked as a lawyer graduating cum laude that rights in America do not come from government. He thought he and his cohorts of corruption, the vestibules of fraud and failure and skullduggery, known as politicians, give me my rights. You're wrong, Tim, which is why I can call you, Barack Obama, that dimwit in diapers, that election thief fraud, and all of you rat Democrats that have been stealing elections since the dawn of time. Exactly what you are, pigs. And there isn't jack you can do about it except sit there while I prove you to be a fraud that you are.
Was the 2024 presidential election rigged?
Senator, President Trump won the 2024 presidential election.
Yeah, folks, how about that? So he was asked.
Tim, do you know why he won it? Do you know why? President Trump, it was too big to rig. He overwhelmed the schematic that the government, the CIA, the crooked rat drug-dealing cartel, had orchestrated with Dominion, with Smartmatic, all the election fraud boxes, fraud systems, fraud not even machines, that steal the election by a multitude of different arrays, least of which is not that they can be hacked at any time, and votes are shifted and the rest of it. And it was so bad because you ran, arguably, not just the worst candidate, the most unqualified dimwit fraud that this country has ever even thought would run. The office tramp, some call Kamala Harris, versus what I prefer, Willie Brown's Gumad, side broad, Tuesdays and Fridays. Don't wear panties, Kamala Harris.
I predicted just about everything that has happened with this administration.
And you say I told you so?
I don't say I told you so. That's kind of obnoxious. I don't say that. But the reality is,
he's a rogue, all right.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women, and fast cars.
You should from now on address me as the mayor.
If ever a man and a municipality were made for each other, it is this man, this place.
And that's Willie Brown, the version of Mike Madigan, only he had a little bit more style, a little bit more panache. He liked to parade his side broad around rather than keep her in Ed Burke's closet. That's the difference between Willie Brown, Mike Madigan, and Ed Burke. And his side broad was Kamala Harris. For decades, in the office of the AG in San Francisco, the state prosecutor, making twice what her boss was making as a new hire because she was stooping Willie Brown. I find that to be a scandal. Am I a conspiracy theorist? The documentation is there. She made twice as much. He bought her a BMW and a Mercedes back when that was rare because Willie Brown was stealing money like every other California Democrat. Stealing money in the name of utopian promises they could never deliver, whether it was homelessness, whether it was health care for illegal aliens, no matter what it was, it's the same spiel that gets these frauds elected to this day. And in the meantime, Tim Kaine is casting aspersions upon we the people who are not dumb enough To buy that Barack Obama was going to lower your fracking insurance payments, morons? Or that he was going to make things better? Or that the economy would be better and he would go through it line by line by line? If you bought anything that imbecile swindler fraud bust-out said, you're the conspiracy theorist. You believed all of his conspiracies. He was going to make everything better. And you bought it hook, line, and sinker, you morons.
Twice was the 2020 presidential election rigged, and he said President Biden was certified to be the winner. He wouldn't answer the question. Saying President Biden was certified as the winner of that election is like saying today is Tuesday, June 16. I mean, it's a fact. But he wouldn't acknowledge that President Biden won that race. Now, there's only one of two reasons, Mr. Duncan. You have either fallen victim to the conspiracy mindset that says that election was rigged, and if you're a conspiracy theorist, you shouldn't be let anywhere near the position.
Then let me ask you this, Tim. Where were the 81 million people when the whore ran? Where were the 81 million that you said? Where were they? And the answer is you couldn't steal fast enough. You couldn't make it work. Even with your fraud systems, you couldn't make it work. And the systems had been frauded for decades. And you know who exposed that? Harry Hursty, who was hired by the DNC after Donald Trump shocked the world and beat the Duchess of Chafington. Because even a dog won't go near Hillary Clinton when he's hungry.
Somebody sent me the tape from a machine in California, and it reported 550 votes with 270 voters. That's the kind of thing we're seeing when we can get the actual document.
How's that math work, Tim? But see, you couldn't allow the people to get the evidence, so you erased it, you stifled it, you hired your fraud judges. And all of this makes us the conspiracy theorists? I don't think so, Tim. Because nobody on the so-called right side of the country were ever dumb enough to buy the conspiracy that Barack Obama was anything other than what he always was, a liar, a fraud, an enigma with no resume, who never did anything but fail spectacularly.
Former President Obama says
it is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from.
Well, here's some of the improvements, stupid. Never trust somebody with an ugly wife. Here's some of the differences. For instance, he's killed the upper echelon of the theocracy, and we don't know how many, but at least 2 layers deep. You enriched the Ayatollah asshat. Where is he now? He's burning in hell, working the glory hole next to Madeleine Albright and his son, which has yet to be produced. So all of the theocrats, that fraud, hate-mongering cult that pretends to be a country, he killed enough of them to get at least some movement. Now, to your point, Barack, and I will agree with you, it wouldn't matter if they signed an agreement. It's as good as Sharman, just like when you signed an agreement, or any other rat-thieving Democrat. When you do not have character, when you're dumb enough to be in a cult, to give Barack Obama some credit, it's as worth as much as your agreement was worth. Nothing.
The deal that we had in the first place.
But Vice President J.D. Vance pushing back.
If you go back to the Obama JCPOA, what it did is it took an Iranian nuclear program that it accelerated, and it basically bribed the Iranians to stop that program. We're in a totally different position here.
Meantime, top Israeli officials are blasting the deal. Prime Minister Netanyahu is adamant about keeping troops in Lebanon, despite President Trump saying the deal would end hostilities on all fronts. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
You know what's funny, too, is in the face of their own reality, they have the audacity to pretend that they have some virtue, some position, some point, when all the Democrat Party has, and all they have, are lies, failure, death, and bankruptcy.
Did have a criminal record. They had a sex trafficking conviction.
Don't have criminal records. So the majority of people that ICE is rounding up and taking out of their homes from their families, they're separating families. They're using children as bait.
But
the majority are not criminals.
But can I respond?
Wrong. Well, Here's what this dizzy bimbo, whose grandfather was in the slave trade business. I love that. She sits next to the white supremacist husband. She believes all husbands are whites, should be white, as they are supreme. Whoopi Goldberg. 3 husbands. Every one of them white as snow. White as Elizabeth Warren. Not quite as high cheekbones. Here is, in CWB, here's a story from today. Drunk, unlicensed, rat pig, illegal. I added that part. Driver killed Uber passenger returning from a graduation celebration. Young, handsome kid on his way home from a friend's graduation, celebrating. Never made it back to Wheaton after a drunk illegal alien pig with a neck tattoo. Looks like Odd Job from James Bond. Unlicensed driver plowed into his Uber as it sat in traffic on the Eisenhower, known as the Ghetto 500 in my neighborhood, and you do not want to take that son of a gun if you can avoid it at any costs. Benjamin Faraday and 2 friends were in a rideshare like most of the decent kids who have to go to that dung hole to pretend it's decent. And 21-year-old Jose Perez Marin, let's call him moron. Jose Perez, useless, filthy, illegal alien, unlicensed moron, slammed into their car from behind in his GMC Yukon, doing 65 miles an hour, killing the young, handsome American with his future all in front of him, just like Gorman, just like Abrams, just like the untold, insane amounts of Americans that are victimized over and over and over again by illegal aliens.
Lindsay, after some back and forth with attorneys, the judge ultimately raised the bond to $1 million each for Samir Ruiz and Rafael Marino. The district attorney present also said the state is looking to press more charges based on new evidence. The DA says a social worker told the Davidson County Sheriff's Office that they were worried about one of their clients who is a Honduran refugee. The 14-year-old reportedly told the social worker that they were staying with people they did not know. And
rapist! Child rapist, illegal alien. Another one.
ICE arresting an illegal immigrant accused of raping a child in Virginia. He was initially arrested nearly a year ago, but he was out on the streets because local officials allegedly refused to cooperate with federal.
Because local officials were Democrat scumbags. Ohio!
The 19-year-old is going to sleep in jail tonight after police said he admitted hitting and killing a 68-year-old woman here on Stanley Avenue in Dayton. A car.
North Carolina.
Lindsay, after some back and forth with attorneys, the judge ultimately raised the bond to $1 million each for Samir Ruiz and Rafael Marino. The district attorney present also said the state is looking to press more charges based on new evidence. The DA says a social worker told the Davidson County Sheriff.
Not to mention 400,000 minors trafficked in what you hope is merely sex trafficking, rather the other sick bastard things that Democrats love to do. Right, Podesta and your fat pig brother? When you look at what's happening and you look at who's doing the right thing.
The Trump administration coming to the rescue of unaccompanied migrant children abandoned, abused, and exploited after they were trafficked across the southern border under President Biden. The Department of Homeland Security revealing it has located about 146,000 minors so far, most of them in sanctuary cities. And acting Attorney General Todd Blanche wants to crack down on the human.
You mean to tell me that they would go where they're protected by government? No fracking kidding. And when it comes to anything to do with the Middle East, aside from Barack Obama paying homage to his Muslim roots, how in the world did the American government manage to give $40 million a week to the Taliban? And they still will not stop it. So is the Iran deal as good as it was with Obama? Yeah, and your insurance premiums are going to come down $2,500 a year, you morons. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Networks, streaming services, retail chains, and tech giants are all adding plus to their names. But where did the concept originate? We may be biased, but we think these big wigs found their inspiration for plus at Hasseless Mattress. Hasseless showrooms are employee-free. Give your mattress a try with no pushy sales guy. Plus, our 35 beds from the top 5 brands start at $293. Plus, unbeatable prices on Tempur-Pedic. Plus, free next-day delivery and setup. plus free haul away and disposal of your old mattress, plus 60-month interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic with approved credit, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card with your Tempur-Pedic mattress, plus a ruggedly handsome spokesman with a smooth radio voice. Get all this, plus a whole lot more when you shop at Hasseless Mattress. Or maybe we should change our name to Hasseless Plus. Nah. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasseless.com.
Hey, this is Shaun Thompson. You know, most of us spend our entire lives in the paycheck mode. You work, you get 30% taken from the G, you pay your bills, repeat and rinse. And that's how time goes by. Then all of a sudden you're old. Retirement hits. Suddenly, you're the one who has to figure out your paycheck that isn't there anymore. Markets are bumpy, prices are up, things can get stressful real fast. That's why having a real income plan matters. Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group can help you build a strategy to turn your hard-earned savings into a reliable retirement income. They coordinate with your Social Security and your tax planning so you can stop wondering if you're withdrawing the right amount at the right time. Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group have been doing this for 30 years. They can help you by giving you a complimentary retirement roadmap. And all you have to do is call 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711 or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver, but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
AM 560. The Answer.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
If you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it.
Nothing in this plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage of the doctor you have.
The only change you'll see are falling costs as our reforms take hold.
If you like your healthcare system and your doctor, the only thing reform will mean to you is your healthcare will cost less.
Now, there's one thing I want to tell you, and everybody who's been in business, who's run a business, who's worked in the accounting department of a business, and the people that I golfed with yesterday, lovely people, terrible golfers, but lovely, lovely people, a sister and a brother. Family business, father an inventor, did more for America than most people will ever know. And we were talking about what Obamacare did to the business. And it's the same story over and over again. And I know it's not vogue to talk about it anymore. But the reason I will never forget it is those of us with an IQ over 60 knew exactly what was going to happen. It started a move in this country, and the only thing that could have stopped it were the people that were hired, called the Tea Party candidates. That's the only ones that could have stopped it. But the idea they wheel out this buffoon, bust-out, fraud scumbag, Barack Obama, who did single-handedly more damage to this country than all the presidents before him, as he alone doubled the national debt. Doubled it himself. $9 trillion he added. Joe Biden, it took him 8 years. Joe Biden did $9 trillion in 4 years after he stole the 2020 election. But now we're all strapped with their conspiracy theory. See, that's what this is. Obamacare is the conspiracy theory. It was based on nothing. Promises, fraud, manufactured evidence. And he's now wheeled it out as an expert on anything. I don't care if it's Obamacare, if it's Iran, if it's the green energy boondoggle of which he all destroyed the quality of the ordinary person's life. What is exactly the repercussion for the destruction that one party has done to this country? What is the repercussion? They're still in it, and we still have to hear from these fracking morons?
The gas prices were this high under Obama, too. So,
well, listen, no,
and Biden.
Well, I'm not...
Right, President Biden? Didn't we have gas prices at over $5?
No, well, there were gas prices in the immediate aftermath of
and I remember eggs were like $12 a dozen.
Well, he never paid. No Democrat ever pays for anything. They're either treated like gods as politicians or they're on the welfare nipple as constituents. We're the ones that pay the cost. We're the ones that always knew when they were completely full of bull dung.
We need to have a realization that we've got about 35 years worth of oil left in the whole world. We're going to run out of oil. When Mr. Nixon made his famous speech...
And what was the repercussion? When this fossil finally bit the dust, he was touted as what? A great president? The tens of millions of Americans he single-handedly bankrupt. The millions and millions of businesses he single-handedly bankrupt. I think that's the hardest part. Every time I hear this lying, enigma, fraud, scandalous whore pretend he's good at something, the only thing worse are the people that still think it's important to hear from him.
Former President Obama says
it is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly...
And by the way, like every other Chicago Democrat, do not sign up to work for them. They will not pay you. The agreements that they sign are as valid as the Iranian cultists. It doesn't mean anything when they agree to something.
I was excited because of the fact of who Obama is, him and his wife, and they come from Chicago.
There are only a few days to go until the Obama Presidential Center opens here in Chicago, and even at this late stage, there are some controversies between the people responsible for building the building, the contractors, and the foundation itself. The African American Contractors Association of Chicago says there are at least 10 small contractors who are threatened financially because they so far have not been paid or...
No kidding! You think a lying thief gives a rip how much melanin you have in your skin? They don't give a rip. Nothing he says, his signature, no promises made by the Democrat mafia mean anything. Even when they're made by the Islamo-Nazi cultists. You thought you were going to get paid. He's a Chicago Democrat. You're just going to get screwed. 312-642-5600.
So, how are you doing?
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
Every morning, students and faculty fill your school's hallways. And every morning, parents trust you to know who's there with them. With ID Supply, that trust is earned and visible. From student and staff ID cards to secure visitor badge systems, ID Supply helps you instantly identify who belongs on campus at a glance, while keeping your entire facility safer. Visitor badges expire automatically, so no one stays longer than they should. And parents, they can feel confident knowing their school has a system in place. Need supplies? We've got you covered. ID card printers, ribbons, and custom lanyards in your school colors. Most orders ship same day. Parents, if your child's school doesn't have a visitor ID system, ask them about ID Supply, because knowing who's on campus shouldn't be a question. Get 10% off your first order with code SCHOOL10. That's SCHOOL10. Visit idsupply.com or call 800-647-5562. Again, that's 800-647-5562. ID Supply. Trusted by schools for over 20 years.
312-642-5600. We'll take your calls and comments after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Cloudy, breezy, maybe a thunderstorm, high near 75. The FBI says several have been arrested, connected with plans to attack a UFC event at the White House. The FBI and Secret Service reportedly uncovered the plot in messages between suspects. Officials continue investigating yesterday's B-52 bomber crash that left 8 dead at Edwards Air Force Base in California. A 27-year-old man riding a bike in Grant Park was killed in a shooting this morning. The Chicago field office of the FBI is seeking to identify potential victims of a former board member for Aurora Christian Schools, now facing several counts related to sex abuse of minors. Michael Herbert remains incarcerated in the Kane County Jail. The news a service of Steiner Homes. Building homes is more than a business, it's a calling. Family-owned and dedicated to building custom homes with care, integrity, and craftsmanship you can trust. Visit SteinerHomesLTD.com. Steiner Homes. Love where you live. Your next news at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. But up next, a check of our roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchak.
It's getting busy out there. Eastbound I-80 traffic is solid from Humboldt to Briggs, and that's because of an accident near Briggs blocking the left lane. Southbound 53 is stalled at Lake Cook Road, and northbound side a crash reported at Algonquin. On the Edens going out Montrose to Lake Cook, that's wide open. The Kennedy just under an hour, Chamberlain Interchange to O'Hare. Watch out for an accident in the left lane at Damon. You'll see tight pockets in the Express Division to Keeler. Also on the outbound Eisenhower, under an hour as well by 2 minutes, $3.90 to get there from the post office. That's what that will cost you. And the Stevenson going out 55 to Saba Lakeshore Drive out to $3.55. Outbound Dan Ryan locals 38 minutes, tightening up in the Express 35th to Marquette. Heavy on the Ford outbound overturned vehicle at 159th, blocking the left lane. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 56. On Wednesday, expect periods of rain and thunderstorms, some of which may be severe later in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The storms have the potential to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high temperature will reach 66 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
We work a lifetime to build a legacy for our families. But the most enduring gift you can give them is the peace of mind you provide when they need it most. When you pre-plan your arrangements at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, you replace the weight of uncertainty with the gift of clarity. Secure today's costs and protect your family from making emotional and financial decisions at the time of need. It's a final act of love they'll never forget. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5407.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
If moving safely around your home is a concern, you deserve clear answers, not a sales pitch. Access will help you improve home accessibility with practical solutions like lifts, grab bars, and home modifications, designed to fit your home, your needs, and budget. Experienced professionals will take the time to explain your options so you can make an informed decision. If staying safe and comfortable in your home matters to you, start with a free in-home consultation. Call Access at 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Estate jewelry, vintage watches, sell worldwide for true auction value. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Tim Kaine, a lawyer who never worked, a shyster. Among Democrats, lobbyists, cartel members, a law degree is a license to steal. Here he is, cum laude, from one of the upper echelon elitist fraud institutions calling themselves school.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis behind.
This moron is a senator. Aside from cum laude law school, slip and fall lawyer, you can find these idiots on billboards. 22, morons. This imbecile's supposed to be a rep, a senator, and he thinks, as he looks at those sexually deviant, twisted, on-the-take scumbags he calls colleagues, he thinks they give me my rights and you your rights. That's how far we've devolved. And when you think about it, it's intellectually. So, of course, they'll buy a conspiracy theory of socialism. You're going to love it. It's utopia. We just have to steal money and the lives of others. And we have to indebt them into the lowest form of humanity in the ghetto. Scumbags who will lie, cheat, and steal.
ID heating up on voter ID heating up on Capitol Hill. A jury just convicted a woman in Massachusetts of voter fraud. Prosecutors say that she also stole more than $400,000 in federal benefits. White House correspondent Aisha Hasni reports.
She voted for the office whore because she's a whore too.
What's happening around the country right now is that the millions and millions of illegals who have come across that border since the borders are Kamala Harris and Joe Biden opened it wide, is that some of them are trying to register to participate in the election. Many of them. We know 6 or 7 states have already done their own audits. They've proven you've got thousands.
And 29 crooked rat welfare states like our own in Illinois, California, New Jersey, all the rats where the illegal aliens are killing Americans. They won't turn over the voter rolls. Why? There's only one reason, and one reason only. They've been stealing elections for decades, and you've never been represented if you are unfortunate enough to live in one of these Democrat mafia states like Illinois, Stan. It's either that or they get some stupid moron to pretend to be a Republican like now. How's Yogi doing? Frickin' idiot. George, Naperville.
Yeah, Shaun, what gets me is Obama was so sure a man of accomplishment, Trump, would not become president. Barack did nothing, made nothing, and we're supposed to listen to him?
Yeah, exactly. Well, after people were dumb enough to with that, yes, we can, hope and change. That's what you must have felt if you signed a contract to build the butt plug for Godzilla called his library.
Have not been paid the full amount for the work they have done on this project. They say there are disputes between the larger New York-based contractor and the smaller contractors over things like compensation.
I know somebody who, well, I'm not going to incriminate him, but worked after he won in 2008, and they provided a service to the city. You know how long it took him to get paid? The year he left. 8 years whistling for the money. That's what it is like when you do anything with these moron, thieving Chicago Democrats.
Also, things like change orders, things that were put in had to be ripped out and reinstalled, or things that were added to the project. Now,
By the way, the butt plug is the finished product. It's probably a coincidence.
Will not sign a plan that adds one dime to our deficits, either now or in the future. It is a cost that will not, I repeat, will not add to our deficits. There will be a provision in this plan that requires us to come forward with more spending cuts if the savings we promised don't materialize.
Not one word of this not only came true or to fruition, he knew, as he was saying it, he knew it was a lie. He was in on the creation of it. You remember Hans Gruber's cousin, that mealy-mouthed, lipless ferret, Jonathan Gruber?
Politically, you just literally cannot do it. Okay, transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent, but I'd rather have this law than not.
So the conspiracy theory of Obamacare, of a utopian healthcare system, everybody that put it together knew it was a lie. And every word that came out of this moron's mouth, married to that Bigfoot broad, woof, got a 5 o'clock shadow at 3. Every word, a lie.
Because it is paid for and curbs the waste and inefficiency in our healthcare system, this bill will help reduce our deficit by as much as $1.3 trillion.
We're 15 years past this bill. 15 years. And nobody wants to stop it. Nobody. And as it was being put together, I always look at this stuff and I remember things from a long time ago. And although, admittedly, I did not hear this live, I was not a radio connoisseur. It's the irony of all ironies. I wish I was, because I knew the arguments. I knew what the predictions were, and I wasn't alone. We all did. If you could read, if you could reason, you knew every word that came out of this idiot's mouth, who couldn't make his Chrysler 300 payment, who couldn't buy his property, needed greasy, slimy Resco and Rod Blagojevich's tramp wife as the real estate broker to buy that fraud in Hyde Park. As every word came out, everybody knew it. And even though we all said it, and it was said on radio by the greatest radio host in history, here we are 15 years later, strapped in this doom loop of the backdoor takeover of your life in Obamacare.
This is from Grand Junction, Colorado on Saturday. Obama and a town hall meeting. Zach Lane.
I'd love to have a debate, just all out, anytime, Oxford style, if you'd like. I understand how I'm willing to do that. But my question is this. We all know the best way to reduce prices in this economy is to increase competition. How in the world can a private corporation providing insurance compete with an entity that does not have to worry about making a profit, does not have to pay local property taxes? They do not have to, they're not subject to local regulations. How can a company compete with that? And I'm not looking for anything, I don't want generalities, I don't want philosophical arguments, I'm just asking a question.
This kid is amazing, and there's no question in my mind this kid listens to this program. In fact, well, no, not really. And there's a New York Times column today, Ross Douthat, and he just point blank says that these town hall meetings are filled with Limbaugh listeners. How does a private entity compete with a company that doesn't have to make a profit? The government? Stop talking generalities and philosophical arguments. This kid,
my name's Zach Lane.
This student challenges the president to a debate, then with one simple question that Obama can't answer, nukes the entire foundation of Obamacare. And listen to
15 years later, how many Republicans even argue against it anymore? You can get used to the abuses. You can get used to the stripping of your wealth. And it's brought to you by one conspiracy theorist party known as the American Democrat. The entire policies, all of them, built to steal your money and the quality of your life, because they understand that you will always give them the benefit of the doubt, because you cannot identify the traitor right next to you. You can't see it right next to you, even when they tell you what they're going to do.
But my feeling is they should open it, the border, and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. Yes, there should be. It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America. It shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep
That's a
upping
fat
their
bastard that liked to play with himself in front of women, and he's welcome in the party of the Nazi American Democrat. 312-642-5600.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. The military taught me that every mission is different. You assess the situation, listen to your team, then execute a plan built around what's needed. Same with helping families sell their homes. Whether it's an inherited house, a parent needing senior living, or life's just taking you in a new direction, we don't show up with a one-size-fits-all answer. We start by listening. What's your timeline? What are you worried about? What would make this easier? Then we build a solution around your needs. No repairs or cleanout are necessary. You pick the timeline that works for you, keep your memories, and we handle everything else. Since 2007, our veteran-led team has earned hundreds of 5-star reviews by doing exactly that, listening first, and treating every family with respect. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com. That's jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Shaun Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Let Cole Digital turn your outdoor space into the ultimate entertainment setup. With a 75-inch SunBright outdoor TV that can stay out year-round and great sound throughout. Like planter speakers on the patio, high-quality rock speakers that blend right into your landscape, or bronze garden speakers that blend into the environment. Our technicians will dig a hole and install an in-ground subwoofer for incredible bass and the best in sound quality. We also install outdoor rated access points for Wi-Fi coverage throughout your yard, and cameras that let you keep an eye on everything with motion-activated recording. Tour our Cole Digital Design Center, 15,000 square feet of audio, video, and great design ideas. Cole Digital is family-owned by conservatives that share your values, and we're based right in Frankfurt. Visit Cole Digital today and schedule your consultation. ColeDigital.com, that's K-O-L-E digital.com, or call 815-469-2000, and we'll bring the showroom to you, 815-469-2000. Cole Digital, what smart living is all about.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
I think the worst thing I could have possibly done was hear a clip from this idiot, Robert De Niro, who is famous for saying things other people wrote down, gave him speech, gave him a personality. That's what this idiot is famous for. And when you listen to him, you understand he should have just shut the frack up until he died. People might have thought he wasn't quite the imbecile he is. Where is it?
We all love our country stuck in my throat. Because our country isn't so
Stuck in My Throat was the name of Kamala Harris's high school band.
lovable right now.
See what I did,
I hate
squirrel?
to say it, but loving our
Whore!
country
She's
is
a
starting
whore!
to sound like an abused spouse saying they love their abuser. I can't love a country that starts stupid and inhumane wars.
What are you talking about, moron? What are you talking about? Did you love Obama? Didn't Obama bomb 6 countries? Did you love him? Did you love him? Is it because you didn't have to pay taxes? Is it because you thought you were in the upper echelon? Scumbag. I'm so sick of these idiots. Don't talk about loving something you don't understand. You don't understand America. That's why as you go through the litany of things you don't like about it, none of it is part of this country. None of it. It's part of the conspiracy theory that the American Marxist, Communist, Democrat, mafia whore sells as a sales pitch to the government takeover of lives. Nothing. No health care for everyone. That's not America. Nothing. No Social Security. Not America. No welfare. Not America. That's all Marxist, Communist, Socialist, and the conspiracy that government can deliver utopia.
Killing thousands of innocents and indirectly causing the deaths and suffering of millions more. I can't love a country that takes health care away from millions of people and uses...
The country didn't do that, stupid. Barack Obama did. Fracking moron. Like this. You were never, and I'll tell you another thing. You were just acting like a tough guy. I think the women in my neighborhood could have kicked your ass, punk. Mark, Oak Lawn.
Shaun, thanks for taking my call. You know, I'm laughing. I can't help it. You're on fire all the time. You know, hey, Shaun, do you know what the word actor means in Greek?
Phony?
Hypocrite. And I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
You know, the guy's had 7 different children from 4 different women. You know, what is enough? The man's out of his mind.
Oh, well,
to be having all these children like that.
You know,
Crazy.
this is, Mark, this is something where I was like, I think I want to go in that business. I was a kid. You know, when you start to go in it and you bump elbows with some of these people, 90% of them, stone morons like De Niro. 90% of them. And when you think about it, they're so void of any character. Their whole qualification is that they can adapt to another. It's not intellectual. It is the absence of intellect, as I see it. These aren't people of actual substance. They have the lack of substance where somebody else can do something. You know, I mean, there are a few that are great, but the vast majority are terrible human beings, terrible, wretched morons. And when you listen to him talk, what he pretends he's upset about, none of that is a part of liberty or freedom or property rights of the individual. None of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Shaun, you know, at the same gathering that Julia Roberts gets up there and she tells everybody, all right, I want everybody to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Now let's all exhale our fear. You know, I'm like, these people, you know,
they give themselves awards, Small.
Great, Shaun. They're shaking in their boots. They have no confidence at all. Their lives are all
And Mark, government and actors give themselves award, call themselves honorable in character. That's not how it works. We decide, and I decide they're scumbags. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Do you have diabetes or high blood pressure? Does someone in your family have high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney failure? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are at risk for kidney disease and should get screened. The National Kidney Foundation Illinois offers free health screenings through the Kidney Mobile. To find a free screening in your area, please visit kidneymobile.org or call 312-321-1500.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you. Would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
My next guest, I interviewed her and her husband. Very, very interesting story. He was targeted by the DOJ, and as I was listening to that Mimbo, Gavin Newsom, talk about being targeted by the DOJ, I said, this is the perfect opportunity to talk to Martha Byrne. The book, In the Interest of Justice, One Woman's Fight Against a Weaponized Justice Department to Save Her Husband. It's out now. Now, I was just hard on actresses and actors, but there is that 10% that's good. She also was a 3-time Emmy Award-winning actress. We'll talk about that and so much more with Martha Byrne after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Cloudy and breezy this afternoon with a high near 75 and a chance of a thunderstorm. The FBI says several have been arrested connected with plans to attack the UFC event at the White House. Secret Service Uniform Division Chief Andrew Ackley defends the decision not to cancel the event.
We're 100% confident that we knew locations, level of planning, level of response. The event itself, I am confident in saying, was never at risk due to the great investigative work.
So far, 5 have been arrested. President Trump says he believes a deal between the U.S. and Iran can hold even if Israel continues attacks in Lebanon.
The president presenting his new agreement with Iran, yet to be released publicly, as a roadmap to peace in the Middle East.
The biggest thing is they will not have a nuclear weapon.
Governor J.B. Pritzker will sign his 8th consecutive budget for the state of Illinois today. Cubs take on the Rockies tonight while the White Sox battle in the Bronx. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, including special members-only content. Join today, 560theanswer.com/join. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages finishing mixed as tech stocks retreat, with chip makers leading the sell-off. However, the Dow posted its 17th record close of the year and traded above the 52,000 level for the first time on falling oil prices and Iran deal optimism. Financials and industrials were the best performers. Oil fell for a fourth day to its lowest level in more than 3 months, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling at around $76. The Dow up 329 points, the Nasdaq lower by 308, S&P 500 down 43. Shares of SpaceX rose nearly 5% for its third session of gains since going public last week. At one point, SpaceX had surpassed both Microsoft and Amazon in market cap during the trading session. SpaceX's rally had just enough fuel to jump over Amazon as the 5th largest company by market value. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Now, this 25th anniversary of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation remains committed to honoring the heroes shaped by that day. Heroes like NYPD Detective Victor Vargas, a U.S. Air Force veteran who died from pancreatic cancer after serving in the World Trade Center recovery efforts. Tunnel to Towers honored Detective Vargas by paying off the family's mortgage. You can donate $11 a month, and you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You've got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the inbound Edens, it's a 40-minute ride outbound. There's a crash on the shoulder at Winnetka, 15 minutes back out to Lake Cook Road. The Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, a 50-minute trip, and an accident inbound side of the Eisenhower, the off-ramp to the Tri-State. It is on that ramp. That ramp is not closed. Hour and 5 going in. The outbound Eisenhower is an hour. Stevenson, 50 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive, out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Outbound Ryan, 28 minutes, stop and go in the Express 35th to Marquette. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, that's jammed either way. Tri-State North, accident at Roosevelt, left lane 1 at the Grand Avenue curve, 2 right lanes, and another at Deerfield in the left lane. Southbound, a crash reported at the Bishop Ford. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 56. On Wednesday, there will be periods of rain and thunderstorms with some potentially severe storms developing late in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool, becoming breezy in the afternoon. These storms have the potential to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high temperature will reach 66 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all guns. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
So yesterday, when I heard the Mimbo, Gavin Newsom, the fraud, the heir of the fortune linked directly to John Paul Getty, as his father was the tax attorney for John Paul Getty. I've enjoyed watching him avoid scandals, circumvent reality. But when I heard this...
In recent days, federal agents have knocked on the doors of family, friends, and former employees. Not because they found a crime, because they're simply trying to find one. They're demanding records. They're abusing the grand jury process, digging through years and years of random documents. Donald Trump isn't just coming after me because of my mean tweets. He's coming after me because I'm considering running for president, because he hates that I've consistently called him out over and over again for his lies and deceit. Donald Trump is simply the most corrupt president in American history. He's turned the levers of government into his own personal power ministries to reward cronies and to try to jail his opponents. His personal attorney now runs the Department of Justice, which has repeatedly gone after his political enemies.
The accusation is always the practice when you're talking to a Democrat lying fraud. But few realize it, as they pretend there is some virtue in occupation. My guest lived through the tragedy of a weaponized Department of Justice as she watched her husband, who was a wonderful guy, I had the pleasure of talking to both of them, be the victim of a weaponized DOJ to prevent the outing of a true scandal. She's the author of the book, In the Interest of Justice, One Woman's Fight Against the Weaponized Justice Department to Save Her Husband. She's one of my favorite soap opera actresses, and I never even watched it. I just love her to death, and her husband. Martha Byrne, how are you?
Oh, thank you for that. What an introduction. First Newsom, bringing it in, starting it out, and then that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was going to go with the Hunter
Hunter
Biden link to Chinese companies, but we'll save that for the end.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's very interesting what you lived through. It really is. Yeah. And your husband is, just a wonderful guy. Why don't you recap for the audience, because not everybody, we're growing. You wouldn't believe it, Martha. I mean, it's bigger every minute, every day. So in case the new audience members are unaware of the last time we spoke with you and your husband, recap exactly what happened, because it's an extremely interesting story.
So my husband was a highly decorated NYPD sergeant, detective in the Bronx, 78 medals. I mean, really very, very involved in cleaning up New York, under the Giuliani administration. And he suffered a severe car accident on the job and retired. Unfortunately, he did not want to, and kind of thought, what could I do with my life? I loved the job. So he became a private investigator and was doing cases for the Vatican, and his business was growing. But I was on television at the time. I was on the soap opera. So he really did it for enjoyment, not the financial. It was a part-time job. He really loved helping people. And
sure.
He got a call in 2016, a random, normal, do some background checks on a guy. we got a call from a New York-based translation company in Queens. Her client had money stolen from him, from his family construction business. They're trying to find the guy and find stolen money. And basically, like, where's he hiding the money? Homes, things like that. Very typical PI work.
Mm-hmm.
He made a few $1,000 on it, did some surveillance, had two other retired NYPD detectives who actually worked with them on this, who were PIs. He notified the local police he was doing surveillance. He kept records. Again, didn't think anything of it. The guy never saw him that he did surveillance on and just moved on with his life. And 4 years later, the FBI comes to our door in the dark of the morning and scares my family and my children and arrests him for working for the Chinese Communist Party, which was, first of all, an interstate stalking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insane. Made no sense. So, you think, well, there must be a mistake here.
Yeah, we'll clear this up ASAP.
Yeah, like he spoke freely to the FBI agent who arrested him. Again, my husband's done thousands of arrests, whatever. He said this is the most not typical arrest in his entire life. Like, they came in the house, they were petting my dog, they let him go to his bathroom, change his clothes. There was no slamming of the doors. There was no guns drawn. It was very atypical. He left the house unhandcuffed. They didn't go to his office. They didn't take his guns. They didn't take his computers. It was crazy, right? So he's thinking there's a mistake, and it was a mistake because he never should have been arrested in the first place because there was no crime. He looked through he saved everything, right? He saved every invoice, every documentation, and we're like, where's the crime? There's no foreign government. Who's Chinese? Like, what's going on here? But we learned very quickly that when you go against the federal government, they will lie, they will make things up, they will fabricate, they will withhold exculpatory evidence, they will threaten your witnesses, they will do anything to win, and they did.
Well, this is something, first of all, your husband, his name is Michael McMahon. I want to let everybody know that. Yeah. And just an absolutely wonderful guy. And he took my dream job. Are you nuts? And I don't just mean being married to a beautiful starlet. I mean that Philip Marlowe, Richard Diamond, Sam Spade, even Sherlock Holmes, the private eye. It's where all the fun is. And, it's fascinating because I'm a big fan of all of that. And I paid attention all my life. And that's where you kind of learn when you're dealing with mafias, corrupt government. See, to me, the mafia is not a couple of Italian guys that are playing dice or giving you the line on Monday Night Football. It's governments around the world. So the mafia was always the Soviets, right? The biggest mafia was always the Nazis or the corrupt government. That's the play. The accusation is the practice. And they know how to hang you up because that's what they do. So in my neighborhood, the FBI is called Forever Bothering Italians. And the trick is they disarm you. And they pet the dog and they knock on the door. You got any coffee? Yeah. Well, if they said, you got any sugar? And you say no, and you got sugar in the cabinet, congratulations. You just lied to a federal agent. You're good for a year right there. That's why you don't talk to nobody ever without your lawyer there. So this is also something that your husband and what you and your family lived through would have been perfect for the fund that was going to be set up for anybody who was the victim of the DOJ. And I'll tell you, I admire how these thieving, slippery bastard lawyers called Democrat politicians, how they play the hand. Because if that fund would have gone through, then people like you, whose story has pretty much been stifled outside of the radio shows you go on, the TV shows, and your book, nobody would know. And this is something that people have to know for generations. Because if they can do this to your husband, who is, by all standards, not just a first responder, but a standout guy, and you, just somebody, a normal wife who's lucky with her career and can support things. Imagine if you didn't have that money. You guys would have been bankrupted. You'd have been busted. It would have been a terrible tragedy. So that's
what
why.
They want, though. That's what they want. So they want to bankrupt you. So they wouldn't even let us look at our discovery at our home. So we had to go to the lawyer's office, which is, $1,200 an hour or something, to look at our own discovery. And then we would open it, and it would be encrypted, so we couldn't even open it, and they wouldn't assist us with opening up our own discovery.
Because every time you call them, there's more money.
Right. Well, I'm talking about the DOJ. Like, they said you're on your own. Like, they wouldn't even label any files. So You know, my husband would open a file and it would go to 10 more files. And fortunately, we found in this discovery, first of all, everything in discovery exonerated my husband that week. Every interview of anybody that they did that they were willing to share exonerated him. So can you imagine what they held back that they knew he was innocent? They've known he's innocent since this happened. Let's give you an example, okay? My husband was guilty of stalking someone in April of 2017, right? If he was involved in a crime in 2017, why didn't they arrest him in 17? Why were we able to leave the country and go traveling with our family right after, a few weeks later? Why wasn't he ever called into the FBI? Why didn't they talk to the NYPD guys that worked with him until after the arrest? Why didn't they talk? There was no crime. So what they did was they made a conspiracy and charged him with something that happened 18 months later at the same location where he supposedly, stalked somebody. Somebody put a threatening note on the guy's door, like, go back to China and pay back your money. They charged my husband with that as part of a conspiracy. So this is the kind of things the government does to build a case so they will win. But, in this case, it's so egregious. There's no political reason for this. It wasn't J6, right? It was just China and these prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York, which some of them have been fired because of this case. FBI agents under investigation because of this case. So like you said, if I didn't speak out, they tried to silence me too. I got a letter from National Security right after his trial trying to shut me up.
So the more you pull at the thread, the more the link will reveal itself, right? So,
yes, of course.
So this is something he knows. And, all of those years we suffered under what I call the dimwit in diapers.
Yeah.
And you see the years. Now, they will reveal both Barack Obama and Joe Biden as the most corrupt people to ever be in politics. But when you look back at the link between smoking, whoremongering, degenerate son, aside from the brothers and sisters, for half a century.
Now, this Fox Business exclusive, Hunter Biden. These companies with ties to the top levels of the Chinese Communist Party and its military. Emails show that as recent as 2017, Hunter's private equity firm in Harv's Sports and Entertainment. Both are backed by China's development bank tied to the Chinese military.
But doing this since Nixon and Carter opened up the doors for this. But when you look at, or Nixon first, then Carter. But when you look at this and you see the way that they make it have that veneer of legitimacy, the vast majority of these LLCs are created, housed, and protected. Delaware. Right? So that's why when people say, well, jurist moron, a real imbecile. But Barack Obama legitimizes him because he needed crooked Delaware, not just to hide the LLCs, but because his son, Beau, was the AG, and he could concoct lawfare against anybody who would challenge Obama. And that's exactly to know what happens if your husband pulls at that thread of who triggered this anyway. So,
well, here's the thing. To your point, 2000 OIG report came out about Charles McGonigal, who was he was the FBI, and he's in jail. He's in prison right now. And the OIG, Office of the Inspector General, I'm reading it, and sure enough, in November of 2017, Jim Biden, the president, were former Secret Service agents trying to dig up dirt on his Chinese business partners, meaning travel, which you can't do, by the way. You cannot do that. That's crossing the line. Okay, they used to be Secret Service, and now they're investigators. warrant on my husband's phone was, or, you know, whatever happened.
These
It's like
rats.
2 weeks later. Okay. So what they accuse everybody. Here's what happens. Everybody that was interviewed regarding my husband, but the people they interviewed, the FBI, they let him flee and go back to China. My husband has nothing to do with it, but they needed an American. Okay, my husband was the only American who was arrested in October of 2020, a week before the riddled with Chinese business in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, remember, Trump says we need to be tougher on China. A week before the election, the FBI Association, FBI-AA, right? They say, please keep Christopher Wray. He is tough on China.
Crooked as
Covering
Grand
their
Avenue, he is. He's as
Yeah.
crooked as Grand Avenue, that son of a...
Absolutely. So what do? My husband's face is all over the news. I got the media outside my door, following my children, taking pictures. We get death threats. Optics about China, because this where Chinese police come over here and they harass dissidents to go back to China. Now, he was a CCP Wuhan official here illegally involved in crimes. They didn't do anything about him. They protected him. They communicated with him.
Yes,
the FBI.
he's their asset.
Well, let's put it this way. He is, on paper, does that mean he is, or did he play them too? Probably played them too. He goes on the stand in my husband's trial, and he doesn't identify my husband as following him. Neither does his wife. Neither does nobody. Not one person testified against my husband in this trial. Not one. They had not one witness that said anything that he did and committed any crime. This just shows you that the prosecution, they lied to the jury. They put fake evidence up on the screen and lied. And when my husband was pardoned in November of 2025, the White House statement says witnesses lied in this case. Okay? They investigated it. It's of the criminal justice system in the federal.
Why that fund was so crucial to people like you. But this is the one thing why I'll never let the election theft of 2020 go. Time is the one thing, and they steal this time. It's horrific. And when it happened, you know, aside from the fact your husband is not just a 30-year detective, but a lot surveillance. So it's impossible for him to stalk, especially without a former complaint.
Now the police report.
Correct.
Even the local, he never filed.
Crooked judges, crooked cops, crooked all of these entities that go back to laundrymen, whatever. All of these companies, Hunter Biden, the one that looks like him, the ferret face, the dog sister, and the other son. No IRS problems. There's never any FBI pop up out of nowhere and have these massive deals in banking and how about, here's the other part. Since I was old enough to read and figured out that they were the ones that were integral in the killing of JFK. They're a Secret Service agent with a conscience. There isn't one, whether Oval Office or this dizzy. Amazing what they get away with. And that's why anybody who you will be targeted, and that's what your husband, Michael McMahon, And that's why I'm going to want my own autographed copy, Mark.
This book, nobody would know the truth.
I love it. So, of justice, one woman's fight against a weaponized Justice Department to save her husband. Did you have to make a lot of pressure on the regular people out here?
Well, listen, how do you think my kids feel? Officer, and my other two kids are doing great despite this religious family, faithful family in God, and we have, and now we're helping other people. But you know, if of what the federal government can do, was in prison. She read my book. She told her husband, please, people that she spoke to and how she was able to get her husband. It really took what I taught them in the book.
That's wonderful.
So, you know, if it's going to be some accountability, though. I'm sorry. You know, one of the FBI agents in our case, in his immigration and a lawsuit enemy. I'm sorry. They need to be arrested. He needs to, as far as I'm concerned. And look, you know, look, there's been the judge that let that immigrant. That's going to stick. She's going to go to prison.
They just threw out her acquittal. Yeah, that's like sending.
She'll have a great time there. But that's 2 years ago.
Oh, no, this is huge.
So,
what we're living through is the best time in the last, believe me. Is he a copper in New York? Is he a copper down by me?
In New Jersey. In New Jersey. In New Jersey.
People. He could. They wave to him. They don't attack the cops. And by the way, I'm not talking that you wrote the book. I can't wait to get my copy. And will you give Michael a hug for me, please?
I will. You know, he went to an event and got with 700. You know, and support. So
this when you're dealing with scoundrels and corrupt government. You're writing the book in the interest of justice, one woman's fight against the weaponized Justice Department to save her husband.
Thank you.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
642.
The bar's set at exceptional. Don't miss the second Celebrity Summit. Departing from Tampa with stops in Bimini, some of your favorite country artists, including Riley. Guarantee locks in your best deal the moment you book. No shelf. Reserve your cabin at Top Shelf.
Data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250. Pure Talk, where the savings are truly.
Voices cut through the noise from without apology, written by people who actually believe the corporate press buries, from President Trump to your everyday lives. Join the real reporters, real conservative media.
Turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Harry O'Connor and Jennifer Horn this November. Sail and Mexico on a 7-day journey. Cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 200 cruise. Book your cabin now. Text.
Good evening, Shaun. Newsroom overnight, partly cloudy with a low. Patel announcing today law enforcement thwarted fight at the White House over the weekend. His agency had not been planning to reveal that
Service made a conscious decision to make an ongoing investigation.
5 have been arrested so far. This year, the Archdiocese of Chicago announcing park will not reopen. Governor Pritzker signed his Democrats are relying on taxes on advertising revenue to fill a gaping deficit. Against the Rockies, the White Sox are in New York. The Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson cast. Your next news update is at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather. A check of your roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Going out downtown to the airport, that is solid at 45 minutes. It's just been cleared, but it's an hour and 10 going in. The outbound Eisenhower. Outbound Dan Ryan, give yourself 30 minutes on that. Heavy conditions along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either. Clear to crash, one at Deerfield, one at Grand Avenue, and the south. Other reported at the Bishop. This report is a service of 60 on your smartphone or mobile device. .com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill.
Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low. Severe later in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool with breeze to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM.
Updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring. New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Your kitchen's out, and you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you. .com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
I'm Gary Carr, retired homicide detective and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. For 10 years, responsible and confident firearm owners. If you're looking to get your Illinois Concealed Carry license or need to renew, now's the perfect time. Our law enforcement-led training gives you the knowledge and skills to protect yourself and your family. Our 16-hour concealed carry class includes live fire training, one-on-one coaching, Illinois and Florida certification for expanded reciprocity, range qualification, and a full-color textbook. We provide the firearm, ammunition, eye and ear protection, targets, and range access. Need a renewal? Our 3-hour renewal class keeps you legal and current on Illinois firearm laws. Thousands of students have trusted us for professional instruction, flexible scheduling, and exceptional value. Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian for classes, less lethal options, and self-defense legal plans. Visit us at concealedcarrychicago.com to reserve your seat today. That's concealedcarrychicago.com, concealedcarrychicago.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Have military collectibles? Turn that history into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Fascinating. J.D. Vance on The View. Not one question. Not one. You know, that J.D. Vance is heading up the fraud division, which, shocking. Our government didn't have one? For decades, you let these rats steal and rob from us blind. Not one question about the absolute, undeniable evidence. Just one tiny little community has robbed the American taxpayer of tens of billions. That's 1,000 million. 1 billion is 1,000 million. Tens of billions. Not one question by those weathered old hags on The View.
Tonight, 5 Investigates is taking on the one question about all of the fraud in Minnesota that some are afraid to ask.
Why is so much of it being committed by members of the Somali community? Now, to get
ding, 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 because they were taught, incentivized, and promised anonymity and freedom for stealing.
Kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
Well, they certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that, marries her brother to get in. And
that's just gross, huh? Me either, Big Donnie. I'm with you. In the meantime, what did The View want to know? What did The View want to know?
So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his and the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trumpet, I call it.
So you wanted to talk about conspiracy theories? Joy Behar? Viagra Slayer? Is that what you wanted to talk about? You didn't even want to talk about the billions?
Answers, investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen spent the last month speaking with a Somali-American professor who has a unique perspective.
And Kevin Lindsay, look, we may never know the individual motivation of each person who's been charged and convicted during this crackdown on fraud. In fact, I've written letters to several of them in prison, and I'm still waiting for a response. But tonight we are getting insight into Somali culture, politics, and what's at stake now.
I think it's a genuine question that some of our viewers have, but maybe some are afraid to ask because they don't want to be perceived as being racist or biased.
Oh, I think they should ask. I think they should ask.
Why are you thieves? Why are you stealing our money?
Dr. Ahmed Samatar.
Feed my kids.
The numbers are undeniable, from food to housing to autism.
Asha, anything you want to say to taxpayers?
5 Investigates reviewed federal fraud charges against more than 100 people in Minnesota.
You know what's fascinating? A kid revealed it all. And I don't know if you saw what's happening to Nick Shirley, aside from the fact he's being welcomed by all decent people from sea to shining sea. He's being attacked by the indecent, specifically the so-called reporters that were sitting on their thumbs for decades, and CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS, you missed it all, didn't you? Well, you always have the plausible deniability of being Democrats. I mean, after all, your excuse is either you're corrupt or you're stupid.
Look at all the press. Look at them. Look at them. Look at all these fools that never actually reported on the fraud that was taking place. So here they are. And look, we even have our op. We even have our op, CNN, right there. She investigated me versus investigating the fraudsters. In fact, her investigation on the fraud was to call the fraudsters and say, hey, are you guys committing fraud? And
brilliant! How'd you become a reporter? The same way Kamala Harris became a prosecutor? Did you lose your underpants in Willie Brown's Riviera?
And obviously they said no, but we know that it was different because we did the real work.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you?
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
Now, This is a small community that has spent more money on cars than Minnesota, the Minnesota residents have spent combined. How could that be? How could it be a tiny, minuscule percentage of the entire state, but specifically Somalians, spend more money on cars than all the other Minnesotans? How did that work, Sherlock?
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
One. There's one. And when it comes to Illinois, what do you think it's going to look like when they crack open the investigations, if they can ever? Because, I mean, after all, Illinois has perfected gangster government so much so that it convicted big fat ass named Ed Burke, who was a gangster for 50 years, a convicted felon. His wife was the Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court. What will it look like when they take a look at anything in Illinois? Well, here's a handful of decent Republicans. This guy's name is DeWitt. And it's fascinating to see how nobody in Chicago media wants to talk about Slob Pritzker, mafia Democrats, destroying the quality of life in the entire state of Illinois and profiting from every so-called move of inflation and high prices.
Illinois Insider Mark Hespin. It is Sunday, the final day of the budget season. I'm here with Senator Don DeWitt. Senator, you just came out of an Appropriations Committee. You're starting to actually digest what they're revealing of the budget so far. One of the big talking points, $150 million from the gas tax. The Democrats are calling it a surplus. They're moving it into the general revenue fund. Explain that.
Well, I prefer to look at it as a windfall for state government, which is really unfortunate, particularly being on the backs of taxpayers across the state. The governor's new budget proposes a freeze on the 1.3 cent incremental increase in the motor fuel tax scheduled for July. At the same time, taxpayers are paying 6.5% sales tax on an exorbitant price for gasoline, averaging about $5 a gallon, depending on.
So he looks like he's freezing it. And at the same time, raise the price of sales tax revenue is increased because of the so-called inflation and because of the taxes already multi-layered from refineries to transportation companies. Illinois makes the most money out of everybody that touches oil and gas.
And where you live, it's an absolute windfall for the state, the sales tax rate against the high price of gasoline. They're taking money out of taxpayers' pockets. They're putting money in taxpayers' pockets with 1.3 cents and then taking 32.5 cents out of the other pocket.
How the hell are you going to explain this to a Chicago public school victim who can't read or do math? Huh? You lost me at compound interest.
An absolute windfall. It's really unfortunate. It's the classic shell game that goes on every year here in Springfield.
And it seems as though they're basically admitting that we have enough money for the roads. The roads are covered, and I think a lot of Illinoisans think, oh, I'll pay higher gas taxes because that money's going to the roads. And they're admitting with this budget, it looks like we're not taking that money and going to the roads. It's just going to something else, correct?
The money will.
It's a three-card Monte. Maybe this is why Tim Kaine thinks rights come from government, because how many Illinois Republicans have discussed this outside of a handful? How about the moron running for governor? Is he going to try to explain the compound abuse of multi-layers of taxation on increased prices? Of course not. He doesn't know if it's Tuesday or July, let alone demanding that Illinois become a state that doesn't fight the government to keep hidden corrupt tax rolls, but can't wait to get illegal aliens and illegitimate votes off the voter rolls. But instead, he wants to be your neighbor. 312-642-5600.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
Are you 65 or older and dealing with chronic knee or shoulder pain? You're not alone. At the Joint Relief Institute, we've helped thousands find real relief without surgery. Our non-surgical, FDA-approved treatment uses hyaluronic gel that acts like a cushion between the bones in your knee. As we age, the cushion naturally wears down, causing painful grinding and popping. But our gel restores that cushion, allowing your knee to move smoothly again. Ready to stop the pain and get back to doing what you love? Call the Joint Relief Institute at 708-315-6800. Again, that's 708-315-6800.
Move better and live better with JRI. Contact the Joint Relief Institute today and get back to doing what you love. Call 708-315-6800 or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oakbrook, and Orland Park. Call 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Do you see yourself traveling, working part-time, or moving somewhere warmer when you retire? Hi, I'm Nolan Webster, your local Chicagoland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I want to help make your retirement goals a reality. Let's talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how we can get you there. Together, we can plan for the expected and make sure you're ready for the unexpected. Call me at 224-801-6107. That's 224-801-6107. Or visit edwardjones.com to get started today. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey Chicagoland, Jeff from Jeff Buys Your House. When people call us, they're often dealing with something overwhelming. An inherited home full of belongings, parent needing senior living, managing an estate while juggling everything else in life. Here's what our sellers have to say after working with us. The very thought of hiring an agent, a cleanup crew, and dealing with months of uncertainty was overwhelming. But Jeff's team gave me permission to just leave it all. I took what mattered and they handled everything else. Another seller wrote, even my Medicaid specialist said Jeff Buys Your House is the name to trust. They gave me a fair price without the traditional real estate headache. And this one, they handled every hiccup. Title issues, paperwork, estate complications. I finally felt relieved. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led team has earned hundreds of 5-star reviews for its professionalism, compassion, and seamless service. No repairs and no cleanout. Take your memories with you and we'll take care of the rest. If you're ready for a no-obligation conversation, call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I'm excited to announce that our campaign is releasing the Blueprint for Illinois. It's a serious policy plan, a roadmap for how state government should work for the people again.
Haven't you been in state government since before you started to look exactly like Yogi Bear without his green hat? Dominic, Glendale Heights.
Yeah, you got to keep Mr. Rogers quiet there. The question I have is this: all the tax money that they collect from the sale of marijuana, how does the state get it? Because I thought under federal law, money from those sales cannot go into the banking system.
No, listen, they legitimized it through the multi-layer scheme of taxation with guarantees, a nice market, black market for illegal dope. So when you look at the way in which they tax it, right? So it's taxed on multi-layers. It's on cultivation privilege tax. Did you ever hear of such a thing? Cultivation, that's the first tax. Now you have potency-based excise taxes. Depending on the potency, it's taxed different, right? So at the retail level, then you have the standard state and local taxes. So think about it. The product, the dope, I don't know much about dope. I never indulged as I have too much respect for my own dignity and character and consciousness. So it's taxed at every level, just like gasoline is, and oil production and oil refinery. So when you couple the fact that whatever, I don't know, how do they sell dope? In an ounce? How do they sell it anymore? Squirrel, I just remember. An ounce? In grams? I don't know, grams or ounces. So when you are buying that, it has 4 layers of taxes on it. So Illinois makes more than anybody in the arena, just like they do gas. And that keeps the price up so all the degenerate scumbags can put fentanyl in the dope and sell it to your kid in the corner because, after all, this is the state that told them everything's fine with it. And think about, simultaneously with this, those ghetto games those video poker, one-armed bandit games, they take over $3 billion, closer to $4 billion a year out of the Illinois state economy. So you've got ghetto gaming and you've got dope. And how many of the people who participate in both are on welfare? So they don't have any money. So you're pretending you're taxing welfare money. That's called a financial crime. Did the bell just go off in your head? Is that what that was?
No, that's fire. But the thing is, we don't know how much money they bring in. They don't disclose it, though.
Well, on the games they do. On the games
but not on the dope.
I think they do. I think every quarter they tell you how much dope, because they're proud of themselves for taxing morons who then end up on welfare. And keeping the El Rucan drug distribution pipeline alive. It's a multi-layer success of ghettonomics, Dominic. Haven't you been paying attention? Let's tax money and turn people into useless drug addicts and degenerate gamblers, and we'll call it state. That's exactly how it works.
That's how the Soviet Union kept people in line. They kept them drunk.
Well, of course.
They kept them drunk. All those years that they were communists, they kept them drunk.
You couldn't eat, but they could make vodka out of socks. That's exactly how it works. Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Amazing.
Welcome to Soviet States of America. See, that's a conspiracy. The conspiracy is that there is such a thing. The conspiracy is that a welfare recipient can, in essence, be a taxpayer. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Government spending can never be revenue unless you're willing to live in a conspiracy. The conspiracy of tax receipts after you spend the money in the first place. Matt doesn't lie. Barack Obama does.
In the coming decades, making it the largest deficit reduction plan in over a decade. It will actually reduce the deficit by $4 trillion over the long term. Healthcare reform
do you know how,
must be and will be.
You know how they're all happy that that degenerate Luigi Punk killed the CEO of United? Look at what United made before Obamacare. Obamacare made 4 insurance companies worth billions and billions of dollars as they squeezed out all the other insurance companies. And you're going to pretend nobody knew that? Everybody knew what was happening with that. Everybody predicted it. It isn't just Rush Limbaugh and the people that listened. It's anyone that could read knew Barack Hussein Obama was lying every time he opened his fracking mouth.
Deficit neutral in the next decade. We have built into law all sorts of measures that in the years to come, healthcare inflation, which has been rising about 3 times as fast as people's wages, is finally going to start slowing down. We'll eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in our healthcare system, but we'll also take on key causes of rising costs.
It's going to be great! 15 years later, family of 4 is 5,000, used to be 500. You still like him? He's a statesman. He's a fracking swindler. And by the way, when he made those promises, he was late on his car payment. Now he's got $60 million in real estate. We'll be back.
Aha, my calculations are correct.
What calculations?
I can finally prove that Penny Mustard has more unique options for recliners than any other store in our solar system.
Well, obviously.
Just look at our showrooms.
We clearly have the best recliners in the universe.
Not universe, solar system.
You mean
that an alien life form in an undiscovered galaxy billions of light years away may somehow offer more optionizable recliners than Penny Mustard? It's feasible.
Seriously?
Maybe aliens are like Penny Mustard and also provide articulating headrests, built-in ports, long-lasting motors, extra lumbar support.
Aliens need lumbar support?
Plus, hundreds of fabric and leather options.
Come on. You really think that aliens exist?
And they sell recliners?
Of course. Area 51 isn't storing UFOs. It's a giant alien furniture store.
Come see why Penny Mustard's recliners are out of this world.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what aliens want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
When the seasons shift, you need a heating and cooling team you can trust to keep your home just right. That's where Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, the original, comes in. This family-owned gem has been a local favorite for more than 45 years, sending only their own top-notch, highly trained technicians to your door. Whether it's a quick repair, a full installation, or anything in between, their work is unmatched, and their customer service feels like family. Keeping you cozy in the winter and cool in the summer, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling delivers comfort you can count on. I've known Garrett and his family for years, and they are great friends of AM 560. Dial 847-545-1700 or visit ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. Mention AM 560 and enjoy 20% off your first service call. Again, go to ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, but absolutely the best.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic, could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did, they gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no-pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
I think the reason I hate being around Democrat voters is I realize just how fracking stupid and corrupt they are.
If you think you might commit sexual assault, always carry a whistle. When you find yourself about to commit sexual assault, blow the whistle until someone else stops you.
That's how fracking smart they are. You think they understand the destruction of socialism, communism, and Marxism, or the benefit of capitalism? We're going to discuss this with the Vincent Price of economics, handsome and debonair, wearing a vest with lapels. E.J. Antoni from the Heritage Foundation will join me to combat the lies, fraud, and promises of utopia, met and supported by every crooked Democrat and the ones who believe it. We'll talk facts, logic, and true success with E.J. Antoni after Foxweiser.
A White House terror plot stopped in its tracks. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The FBI is searching for more suspects connected to a plan to attack last weekend's UFC event at the White House. 5 suspects already in custody.
Investigators tell Fox the plan was to use drones with explosives to hit buildings near the UFC Freedom 250 event, which would force a mass evacuation and steer crowds toward a pre-staged sniper team. A, quote, second wave was allegedly planning to storm the White House gate. Those accused of being involved in the alleged plot arrested in Ohio, Nebraska, Missouri, and California.
Fox's David Spunt in Washington. The FBI says the mother of one of the suspects helped break up the plot.
In Ohio, investigators say 19-year-old Tyson Proper's mother called police after she was concerned about her son's recent conduct, including firearms purchases and his communications with people online.
One suspect told investigators the goal was to target what he called capitalist elites, billionaires, and those getting donations from the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. Vice President J.D. Vance set to travel to Switzerland Friday for the signing of the tentative deal with Iran. He tells Fox's The Five.
The United States wins either way. As the president said, either they get nothing, we destroyed their nuclear program and the Straits of Hormuz are open, or they fundamentally transform themselves, and that's a big win, too. It's really up to them.
Iran says the deal calls for Israel to withdraw from Lebanon, a condition already rejected by Israel. This is Democrats in Congress calling on the administration to provide details of the agreement. With a vote of 47-48, the Senate tried and failed again to advance a war powers resolution that would end the military action in Iran. 4 Republicans joined most Democrats in supporting the resolution. And the Trump administration moving oversight of special education and civil rights out of the Department of Education. America is listening to Fox News.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, no reported delays. Inbound side solid at 50 minutes. Kennedy 38. Janeburn Interchange to O'Hare. And the outbound Eisenhower is an hour. Post Office to 390. Stevenson outbound 50 DuSable Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Accident reported on the inbound side of the Ryan at Marquette. 25 going in, 25 going out. Heavy conditions along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, northbound and southbound, and the Tri-State northbound at 111th. Accident blocking the two right lanes. Also westbound Reagan has a crash at Naperville. 355 not bad, and the other tollways scatter tight pockets as well. This report is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and The Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 56. On Wednesday, there will be periods of rain and thunderstorms with some potentially severe storms developing late in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool, becoming breezy in the afternoon. These storms have the potential to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high temperature will reach 66 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Born on America's darkest day, 9/11/01, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping American heroes ever since. Heroes like FDNY Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough Jr. McDonough served at Ground Zero. He later lost his life to a related cancer. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to honor his sacrifice by paying off the family's mortgage. Donate $11 a month, and you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
The first Top Shelf Country Cruise showed out. The bar's set at exceptional. Don't miss the second sailing in March 2027 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Summit, departing from Tampa with stops in Bimini, Key West, and Cozumel. Plus, performances from some of your favorite country artists, including Riley Green, Chris Young, Lauren Elena, and Randy Houser. Our price guarantee locks in your best deal the moment you book. No surprises. Don't settle for anything less than Top Shelf. Reserve your cabin at TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
What an incredible week for the good guys, for America, for freedom, for liberty, for achievement, and for capitalism.
is also, again, it just shows how much he doesn't know. I know people talk about him as a genius, but to me, I think he's probably one of the dumbest, luckiest people to exist on this earth.
Now that sexual deviant who married her brother with the laundry on her head, that stupid pig, has done more damage to America than almost any other alien, illegal, temporary protected, let alone domestic Democrat in America. And she is talking about Elon Musk, who it's hard to quantify. Did he increase the American economy $3 trillion, $4 trillion, and how many millionaires did he make, let alone the convenience of what he touches and invents? That's capitalism. My next guest knows this all too well, as he has been studying it with a vest and lapels. EJ Antoni, rocking the Van Dyke. How are you?
Shaun, I'm doing well. I'm regretting some life choices these days. I'm thinking, why was I not working as a janitor at SpaceX? Because that guy is now doing better than I am today. He is wealthier than me because Elon had the foresight to compensate him with not just salary and benefits, but with equity in the company too, and literally made the guy a millionaire overnight when SpaceX went public.
And what I love about this year and what we're living through is the silver lining in the reality of what we face. The argument is really this simple. The people who want to keep their money versus the people who want to take it away. It's that simple. It's that simple. And all of these people who want to take other people's money away are conspiracy theorists, as I see it. I mean, after all, it's a conspiracy theory to think that there's universal health care. Barack Obama was going to lower your premiums. It's a conspiracy theory to think that fake Indian, who looks like Chuck Connors, is going to bring you housing, is going to bring you any kind of quality of life through their policies of waste, fraud, and abuse. So I've decided from now on to call the American National Socialist Worker Party exactly what they are, American Nazis, and identify the frauds for what they are. The face of greed, the insatiable greed that cannot finance their own food, their own housing, their own health care, and are going to tell you how virtuous it is to take somebody else's.
You know, it's amazing, Shaun, when we look at a guy like Elon Musk. He is such a great example. And I'm a big defender of his, not because I agree with him on everything, I don't, but because this is a guy who, for years, he was that guy who never slept. He worked all day long. When he did sleep, he slept on the factory floor, whether it's SpaceX or at Tesla. He didn't even own a home. He would talk about how, home ownership would just kind of slow me down, and if I owned a home, I wouldn't have as much time to devote to work. I mean, that was the kind of guy that he was and still is, really, right? So, in other words, he was that story we hear about, that American dream, if you will, where if you just work hard enough, you can literally do anything, right? And he is that American success story. But the left hates that because it defies the narrative that you were just so well articulating, Shaun. This whole idea that, the system is rigged against you. There is some kind of grand conspiracy. The billionaires are holding you down, et cetera, et cetera. When the harsh reality is, it is a system where those who work hardest win. And if you're willing to outwork everybody else and to sacrifice countless things in your life in order to win, then guess what? You're going to do that.
And you know what else fascinates me? The only real monopoly, the only existing monopoly in this country, in the world, is the one who points the fingers and pretends it's breaking up monopolies. The only monopoly in this country is government. Government is the only true monopoly, the extortion monopoly. And, it's fascinating because as you look back at Elon, and I'm not just talking, you could go back to when he was new to this country, what he brought to it. When you go back through PayPal, what that did, how that rocked the world. PayPal figured out how to eliminate the necessity to have closing day funge values of currency. I don't know if you know that. You know that. Instantaneously, completely giving you the immediate translation from yen to dollar, from boon to dollar, from whatever currency you wanted to trade in, and paying you immediately. Up until PayPal, you had to wait till settlement. and you would have the fungigation, you'd go overnight and all the rest of it. It did it. And I'm telling you, I've always believed that's why I believe it was shelved. Because if you remember, PayPal was acquired by eBay, and then all of a sudden nobody used it. So it's a fascinating reality when you look at what those PayPal, they're called the PayPal Mafia. There's a great book on it. You'd love it. PayPal Mafia, you got to check it out for yourself. But when you look at what he's done his whole life, and you go back to him and the stories of him as a kid, aside from never sleeping and sleeping on the floor when he had to and working, not owning a house, the reason he is what he is isn't just the achievement. It's the dreaming. And did you ever hear his father talk about what teachers wanted to do to him?
No, I have not heard that.
Here's Elon Musk's father. And you got to understand where he grew up, very government central control, top-down totalitarian, kind of the same thing all these Democrat areas want to do in America. And the teachers wanted to medicate him.
When I went into the headmaster's office, there was this older lady, I think she was obviously the teacher, wringing her hands, and looking terribly unhappy. And the headmaster was a very good man. He said to me, your son is retarded. We think your son is retarded. Of course, I knew Elon wasn't retarded. So I said, well, why? Why do you say that? And they said, well, yesterday, again, he sits and stares out of the window while everybody's taking note in the class. The other kids are taking note. He sits up and stares out of the window. And she said nothing she does gets his attention. And she actually went up to him, as she explained, and she would pushed him on the shoulder before he jump around and look at her. And then she said, he asked him, why, what are you doing? And he said, look, the trees are getting green, or they're all getting leaves or something to that effect. So I thought, well, that's a reasonable, I didn't see anything wrong with that.
So he was a consummate dreamer. And if you just take into account what we have allowed these incompetent boobs pretending to be teachers, what they have done to our children, how many Elons did they already put on drugs and change the course of history itself? Thank God Elon's father said, no. You don't know my kid better than I know my kid. But look at what we do. We have school systems that lower standards of testing because they don't want the results to be given out loud. They would rather dope kids. More kids are on dope than at any time in history, rather than teach them. And just take a look at what this one man did since he was a boy, from dreams to product to productivity to enriching billions and billions of people. And when you look at Starlink, that's half the reason. Starlink is 1,000 times better than Comcast, and Comcast has been bribing the Democrats to have the monopoly it has over the stronghold. And that's why the Democrats hate him. But I love the fact he keeps winning, and we keep winning, because the market is hot. The growth is in the private sector. It's expanding and growing. All the time, the Democrat morons like Obama keep promising to deliver utopia, and they deliver ghettos. This is an easy argument to have, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Wow, Shaun, so much to unpack there. A lot of fertile territory here. Look, teaching is predominantly a liberal field, or maybe a better way to say that is it is dominated by liberals.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. And for whatever reason, it just attracts a lot of liberals. I don't know if it's the power imbalance between pupil and student. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not that kind of doctor. So I don't know why that's the case, but it's very clear that is the case. And so it's not surprising then that you find a lot of people in the teaching field with these very liberal ideologies. And part of the whole gospel of envy on which liberalism is based is this denial, really, that people can create wealth, that people can dream, that people can change the world, etc. I know the left likes to talk about that. They talk about it a lot, but actions speak louder than words. And what their actions say is that, no, people on their own can't change anything. You need the heavy hand of government to take away people's liberties in order to actually change things, which, of course, never works well. But that's what they ultimately believe. And again, you can tell that based on their actions. So it's not surprising then that you have a teacher who talked to Elon that way, who thought that about Elon and made those kinds of recommendations to Elon's father. It's not surprising at all. And that is a perfect parallel to what's going on today with AOC, with Elizabeth Warren, right, with all of those crazy folks, where they somehow think that Elon has taken from other people in order to create wealth. That's not how wealth is created. No. The reason they think that, though, is because in their positions, since they don't know how to create wealth, they only know how to steal. They only know how to take it from the hardworking Americans. They only know how to take it from taxpayers, how to transfer from A to B. They don't know that A can actually create the wealth and then sell it to B, and both can be better off.
So are you ready for this? Because I've looked at this my whole life, and I've lived it my whole life. And you say you're not a psychologist, but you are a doctor, you handsome son of a gun. And you're an economist. There is no better antidote to the fraud of psychology than what you are. You're fact-based, result-based. And it's a fascinating reality, and I think some people are too good to see how bad people can be. And when you look at these teachers, most of them, and you saw this in Chicago specifically, but not exclusively, they don't want to work. Don't you remember in COVID that dizzy pig who wanted the school shut down and she was caught on Instagram with her hat on vacation? That's the quintessential Chicago public school teacher. They are good for nothing. And they would rather have a room full of doped up kids. And the reason, EJ, is the same reason they're Democrats. They hate success and those that would succeed. They don't want to take the chance that kids could grow up and be Elon Musk. They don't like success, which is why they are so comfortable wallowing in failure, claiming to be virtuous. That's the get. They're virtuous as they destroy education. They're virtuous as 18 out of 100 kids can read, less can do math. They're the teacher instead of being ashamed, of which each and every one of them should be as they watch the news, because all these perpetrators are all Chicago public school kids. All these break-ins, all their students. And as society pays $33,000 a head in Chicago, $43,000 in New York, the teachers, rather than have shame, demand more money, because the true face of greed is always the Marxist, the communist, the socialist. And they want it for nothing in the same way their constituents want their rent and their food for nothing. This is good versus evil. This isn't economics. There are no economics. There are conspiracy theories to socialism and Marxism and communism. There's no economics. The economic is bankruptcy. So I'm to the point now where I don't ever want to have the argument, and Elon Musk proves beyond a shadow of a doubt all of my allegations. What do you think about that?
Yeah, very true, Shaun. And I think what you're describing and what we've been sadly observing in the Chicago area, basically, and not just Chicago, New York City, right, L.A., you name it, a host of other cities, all of which are run by liberals, of course. What we're observing is modern day serfdom, or a modern day slavery, maybe. I don't think that's too harsh to say that.
No.
It is creating literally a permanent underclass, which can never, because they have this victimhood mentality and because they've been deprived of acquiring any kind of skills, they have nothing other than to live off the dole. And so, again, it creates this kind of permanent underclass who will perpetually vote for whoever promises them the most benefits, the most goodies, the most, essentially the most government transfers, of course, at taxpayer expense. It's about a permanent voting base, which is also a permanent underclass.
Absolutely. And you know what's fascinating? One of the things that Trump, and you and I talk about this, right? And what he does is, whether he wants to admit it or not, he represents a third party. But as I look at, I'm in studio in Chicago here, in this area, and they have on the garbage stations that never make it in my studio, Xanadu in Florida. So you have Jonah Goldberg on, you have Stephen Hayes, you have the Never Trumpers, right? And then you look back at what these guys really represent. They represent the Fabians, as I used to call it. But when you look at these Bush people, these Bush Republicans, these Mitt Romney, and you look at the way in which they're taught from the time they enter college and they're all members of that Skull and Bones and that society, most people don't realize these are societies that are built on top-down collectivism of one form or another. Skull and Bones is a German socialist. They differ from the Nazis, just minuscule ways, but they differ. Fabians are the same thing as Marxists, but they differ just minuscule ways. And these are the governments they prefer, where you live in serfdom, and it's mediocrity, or it's equality through mediocrity. And as you look at the erosion of what used to be the middle class, it's fascinating, EJ, to come back to Illinois and look at how the Illinoisans accept the multi-layer of taxation on gas, on water, on electricity, how they tolerate the decades of corruption between the only true monopolies, government and their favorite corrupt companies like ComEd and the rest of it. It's riddled in scandal, and there are no choices. ComEd's got you, and you're never getting out of it. So it's really amazing how people would rather look at it and say, you know what, the only way for me to really get out of it is to get in on it. Because after all, it's better to be in on the scam than finance it. So now you've got the tipping block of state workers, municipal workers, county workers versus the citizen who makes a third of what they make. So you've got these little fiefdoms, these Democrat areas, that are Soviet states. And if you're a Democrat state, you're a Soviet state, and you run on Soviet economics, don't you?
Yeah, and Shaun, it really is amazing. You hit on something really important there, how we've just become desensitized, I think is the way to put it. You know, it really is shocking how you go to some of these areas in the country where people are taxed to death, where businesses get regulated to death, right? And it's such a stark contrast. You know, when I was out there recently with you, traveling between Illinois and Indiana, again, seeing the difference there in the business climate alone. And it's amazing how, again, it's as if people have just become desensitized. It's like the old analogy, how it's like the frog in the boiling water, right? And if you start the water cold, the frog's happy, and you can slowly heat up the water and cook it to death, as long as you just don't do it too quickly. And that really, again, seems like a good analogy for what has happened in places like Chicago, Illinois more broadly, but again, other liberal states like Massachusetts, like New York, and so on, Michigan, California, right, Oregon. Yeah. And so as we have become desensitized, we've forgotten how things used to be. We've forgotten, for example, that the middle class in this country, a guy with a high school diploma could have a family. He could have 3 kids. He could own his own home. His wife could stay home and make a home and not have to go to work herself. Like, that was normal at one point in this country, before the cost of living exploded, before Leviathan grew in size, et cetera.
And that's the system the government supremacist hates. Because after all, if a guy like me, a guy like I met a wonderful kid, he's a man, a wonderful guy yesterday, bricklayer, came up with an invention. He's got a great idea. If he becomes a billionaire, well, he didn't follow their path. He didn't go to Harvard. He didn't go to Yale. That's why I'm telling you, EJ, if you could have been with us when we would go to these private clubs in Chicago, and the Sears Tower used to have the Metropolitan Club, and we'd walk in there, a bunch of meatheads with our trading jackets on, and you'd see these pseudo-intellectual frauds, these ass-suck-on businessmen, so they're called, and all they did was kiss their boss's ass. Nobody knew what the hell they did. And they would look at these guys. These punks don't need anybody. They make more money. They hated it. That's when you see the cultivated envy. And those guys today, you know what they are? The vast majority of them, they're recipients of government contracts. They're lobbyists. They're fraudster banksters. It's amazing to see how they still are miserable, even though they got everything they wanted. There is no more Merck. There are no more guys. There's no more businesses. And they still walk around with that arrogance of superiority. And that's the problem I have with it, because these are easy areas to see. Since those days, the businesses are selling at 95% less than they used to be, or the buildings are selling 95% less. The businesses we used to go to, none of them are there. I don't even think the Metropolitan Club is there. So they live in the reality of their own failure, and yet they still pretend to be onto something. And to watch these schemes, you know, in Illinois, they got 2 big industries, dope and gambling, right? So I had a caller before you came on. He said, you know, how does Illinois charge taxes in revenue? Well, it's multi-layered, just like they do gas. They have something called a cultivation privilege tax. Did you ever hear of that? That means if you grow it or whatever the case is, however you get it here, you pay 7% on it. That's before it hits the shelves. Now you've got tiered excise taxes on the strength of the marijuana. And on top of that, you've got retail tax. So you're taxing it 3 times, making certain it's high enough so that black market dope dealers can sell it too. And they call whatever they get from it revenue, regardless of the fact how many of the recipients are on welfare. Because after all, government welfare people can never be taxpayers. They live on government welfare. And then you look at the video gaming. One state, broke-ass, bust-ass state, near $4 billion a year in ghetto gaming. How many of them are on welfare? And the money goes out of state. Those companies, vast majority of them, aren't owned in Illinois. So they make their money, whoop, they're gone. And they pay their, here's a third for the state. You guys are cut in on it. So it's really a scheme that only could exist because other decent states and the federal government bail it out. And that's why we've got this debt explosion since Obama, isn't it?
Yeah, sounds a lot like bread and circuses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Well, let's just make sure we're handing these people food. That's the welfare. And let's make sure we give them something to entertain them, to distract them from the disasters that are going on as a result of failed public policy. That's the gambling. So, again, there's nothing new under the sun, Shaun, right? We've talked about that a lot. This is essentially one government failure trying to cover up for previous government failures and nothing more. That's genuinely all it is. And it only works as long as good people work. In other words, as long as you, your listeners, myself, as long as we're out there actually producing something that people want, actually generating wealth, earning our own income, that's the only way the government actually has a tax base to take money from and actually fund all of this nonsense. But as more and more people leave Illinois, the state has been hemorrhaging its most powerful resource, its most important resource, people, for how many years now? As that continues, you know what? Eventually the music's going to stop.
Yeah, well, they're going to fight off the investigations, but it's fun to watch Gavin Newsom's wife finally get some attention. I mean, after all, he's been running her to NGOs in the same way little Dick Durbin, the senator, put his portly wife up as a lobbyist. Did they think we weren't on to the fact they put up their spouses and their moron kids as bagmen? This is getting fun, isn't it?
Well, fun, that's one F word for it.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to see you again. So stay in touch. We've got, I just got a little thing. Shaun Fest is going to be at the end of summer. You got a first place invitation. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Ooh. Yeah, a lot of people. Free. It's free for everybody to come. So we'll key you in. Don't worry. I'll give you a special text when we get off the air. But I would love to see you again, and I love, more importantly, watching you give them the business on these shows that used to be propaganda. EJ Antonia Heritage, we all love you here at the show, so thank you.
Hey, Shaun, it's always my pleasure. Great to talk to you.
You too. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year at this time. All you have to do is pick up the phone and say, I want to provide a free ultrasound to a girl. Give her the chance to see the truth of what's happening in her body. Every $28 helps do that, saving one baby. $280 can do that, help save 10 babies. More does more. The phone number is 833-850-2229. 833-850-BABY. Join us saving babies with Preborn again this year. We're going to save hundreds of babies, one at a time, 2 or 5 or 10 at a time. That phone number again is 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/baby.
Stuck in Illinois? Between the taxes, the politics, the weather, it's exhausting. But leaving isn't as simple as packing up and going. That's where leavingil.com comes in. We help you create a smart step-by-step plan so you don't make the wrong move at the wrong time. Start with our quick exit readiness assessment today. Go to leavingil.com. That's leavingil.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
If you've saved $100,000 or more for retirement, call Steve Shyman today at 833-945-7283. That's 833-WILL-SAVE, 833-WILL-SAVE. Schedule your no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and make sure your plan is built to protect what you've worked so hard to earn. And don't forget to listen to Steve's show, Protecting Your Assets, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560. Call now, 833-945-7283.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important conversations from America's most prominent journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Twitchy's kinetic group of editors deliver fast and amusing content around the clock to tell you who said what in global and political news, sports, entertainment, and media. If it's news, they're on it. If it should be news, they're ahead of it. Stay connected to the newswire of the 21st century with Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
815-923-7000. You know what I'm mad about, Squirrel? I just talked to Randy today because he's got a very, very interesting auction coming up. And we were just talking about it, and I forgot to ask him. I have these lighters that my beautiful, wonderful father-in-law gave me. And I love them to death, and I'm more of a buyer, but I still like to know what things are worth. And you never have to ask what's it worth. All you have to do, 815-923-7000. Ask the people at Donley Auctions for 50 years who have been giving advice and helping people exposing their items to the World Wide Web. What's it worth? They will know instantaneously, as they have been delivering the highest price in the world at DonleyAuctions.com. And if it's anything to do that you're proud of, your father-in-law gave you, if it's something to do with your uncle, even the clothes he wore in World War II or Vietnam, they'll know exactly. Anything in the military, advertising. If you can park it, if you can drive it, if you can ride it, Randy Donley will know what it costs. If it's in your garage, if it's in your attic or your basement, he will know exactly what it's worth. Now, if you want it to be in any of those spaces, you can see it all at DonleyAuctions.com. It's not just for selling or knowing what the value of something is. It's for acquiring, acquisitions. And I tell you what, I think these collectibles have a big future. And don't forget about the other things. Guns, 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 and more guns. As Randy Donley and the people at Donley Auctions are licensed arms dealer. Whether it's a handgun, a shotgun, a rifle, even a cannon, go to Donley Auctions. Whether you're selling or buying, DonleyAuctions.com. Call 815-923-7000. There's somebody who, and every month they have these themed auctions. Wait until you hear them. A little tease, but it has a lot to do with fake Indians. Look like Chuck Connors. 40 years getting jobs. Indian your ass. You look like the Dutch boy. Whore. DonleyAuctions.com. 815-923-7000. When we get back, Steve, Verlon, Scott, 312-642-5600 if you care to join them after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, we see partly cloudy skies overnight with a low of 56. Leaders at the G7 summit in France pressing President Trump for details of the U.S.-Iran peace agreement.
We will have to see in practice what this deal means once we get past Friday, but that's certainly something that the leaders of the UAE, Egypt and Qatar will be speaking to President Trump about.
SpaceX is now the fourth largest U.S. company. Shares in Elon Musk's rocket builder surged another 10% today as a 27-year-old man riding a bike in Grant Park was killed in a shooting this morning around 12:15 a.m. Governor Pritzker signs his 8th consecutive budget for the state of Illinois today. Baseball tonight, Cubs and Rockies, White Sox and Yankees. The news a service of rockauto.com. A failed strut can turn any drive into a rough ride. When it's time for repairs, Rock Auto makes finding the right part easy. Shop name brands at lower prices and have the parts shipped directly to your door. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. Your next news is at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather coverage at 560theanswer.com. But up next, a check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Eden, you're still good, although it's solid back in at 45 minutes from Lake Cook Road to Montrose. Kennedy, 40 minutes. Chamberlain Interchange to O'Hare. On the Eisenhower, it's busy inbound at 1 hour. Crash it north on the side and another at Racine. If you're going out on the Eisenhower, that one's about a 45-minute trip. Stevenson, DuSable Lakeshore Drive out to 355, 40 minutes. Southbound 55, an accident reported at Weber. And the inbound side of the Dan Ryan, an accident reported at Marquette, 25 in, 20 going out. Heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, both directions. Tri-State still busy. Eastbound Jane Addams, the accident at Meacham is off to the side. And a bit sluggish eastbound Reagan, 355 looks better. This report is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 56. On Wednesday, expect periods of rain and thunderstorms, some of which may be severe later in the day. It'll be mostly cloudy and cool with breezy conditions in the afternoon. The storms have the potential to bring flash flooding, hail, damaging winds, and even a tornado. The high temperature will reach 66 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Platform safety is critical at your commercial and industrial facility. Keeping people safe and meeting OSHA requirements isn't optional. That's why Vans Industrial offers free platform inspections by professional structural engineers who know exactly what to look for. Problems with platforms, ladders, or stairs can lead to costly fines or worse. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to protect people in your facility.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. With decades of experience, I bring long-standing industry knowledge from inspecting, correcting, and replacing countless platforms to make facilities safer. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor equipped to modify or replace steel catwalks, handrails, stairways, and ladders. Our union building trades professionals fabricate and install high-quality steel systems that create safer work environments.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free platform inspection by professional structural engineers. See what else we can do for you. Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Old phonographs or music boxes? We are the experts. Consign yours. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Big fan. Whatever drugs he was doing, they didn't have a name for it. High as a kite. Driving that Ford F-150. Smashing. James Brown. Hardest working man in show business, and he died of dope nobody had a name for.
Color in your family.
Sure.
So when you see, things, the Emmett Till stuff coming down, or them doing all kinds of removal of information of black heroes, how does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because you just I know Emmett Till was the kid. No, I want to know what she's.
You don't know what
she loves the black guys. Well, why didn't you marry any? 3 husbands, white as the driven snow. Not one shaft. He's a bad mother. And in between the husbands, Ted Danson. Whoopi Goldberg is the greatest example of a white supremacist in history, as she only stoops white guys.
Respond to your actual point.
So in a lot of the museums,
there you go.
There's so many.
Does one of those museums have your eyebrows? What's with your face, ugly?
Where they're taking down the actual history that happened in this country. Slavery happened.
Ulster Scots. Maybe it's a Chinese guy setting a cross on fire in Grant Park.
For just about a week now, Chicago police and the FBI have been trying to identify
I think I'm turning Japanese.
a man who was
I really
suspected
think
of
so.
setting up this cross and torching it. Well, tonight, the NBC Chicago investigative team has now ID'd a 21-year-old college senior who said...
Do they have his name yet, Squirrel?
They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Li Fook, and Bang Ding Ao. The NTSB has confirmed...
Not white! Not a white guy. Chinese exchange student. Maybe, maybe not. I don't really give a rip. Too ugly to be one of Charlie Chan's kids, not even number 7 son. Yet, he was burning a cross in Grant Park because he hated Donald Trump. Brilliant, you stupid moron. Steve Hayes.
Yeah, hello, Shaun. How's it going? I just wanted to mention something about Neuralink. Have you guys heard the latest news on Neuralink?
Yeah, I saw the whole. I saw the thing where it's extremely beneficial for people who are vision impaired. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. They're going to implant the first implant either this week or this month. And not only is it going to restore vision to people who can't see at all, completely blind from birth, but in the future when they tap into the optical nerve, people are going to be able to see radar, ultraviolet.
Steve, how great is this as we get
dark?
But I mean, how great is this as we get older? Right? I don't want to be blind. The advances.
Yeah, I don't want to be blind either.
The advances that this guy, through his dreaming and through his insistence, I mean, government couldn't do that. Government can't do anything except protect monopolies. And you know what's fascinating, Steve? I lived through the Ian hurricane. I've lived through all of them since I moved there, 2020. You know, the only system that works for internet, and I operate like it's nothing, is Starlink. 1,000 times better than all these other ones who bribe every lobbyist in Washington, D.C. to carve up our country. So I love the fact of what he's doing, and I appreciate you holding, Steve. Thank you. It means the world to me. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, man.
Love you. Sorry. Verlon!
Shaun, I got two quick questions. Number one, do I still have anonymity on your show? Because I'm about to ask a question, and I don't want to get in trouble.
I think you made up that word, but if you mean anonymity, yeah, you got it. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll hold your hand through this whole thing. Go ahead. You got it. What do you need? Let's talk to Vito. Vito from Monticello. Shoot, Vito.
Now, you know I like accurate information. So I want to know, did the MMA fighter lie? Because I don't know. I've seen a lot over these years, and the standard of the left is make an accusation and prove them wrong. So I say prove them wrong. Did he lie?
Well, I'll tell you what. Like I say before, I mean, she has a 5 o'clock shadow at 3. That's one thing. Number two, she may have a vagina, but I don't know anybody that wants to see it, and I know some desperados out there. I think she would be safe in Cook County walking through Cell Block C, but that's just me. I have higher standards. I prefer my women to be lovely, succulent, and luscious. I don't like big-footed girls. Yeah.
Shaun, I'm a healthcare provider, and I've seen many of everybody naked.
Oh boy.
I want to see full frontal. I want proof.
Oh boy. There's a sentence she never heard in her life. You know, Michelle Obama is good for one thing. If you're ever on a date with her and you get a flat tire, you can make a phone call. Tell her, get out of the car, honey. I got to make a call. Will you change that for me? You lift it up without a jack. She's a big broad. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
This is Albert Mohler for Townhall.com. A recent article at the Financial Times has received a lot of well-deserved attention. Its headline, Why Birth Rates Are Falling Everywhere All at Once. These trends have been a long time coming, but at this point, the problems are cascading. If you want evidence, just look at Japan. John Byrne Murdoch began the article this way, quote, the demographic landslide defining our era is gaining speed and terrain. In more than two-thirds of the world's 195 countries, the average number of children born to each woman has fallen below the replacement rate of 2.1 that keeps population stable without immigration. In 66 countries, the average is now closer to 1 than to 2. In some, the most common number for children born to each woman is 0, end quote. This is simply astounding. The economic analysis is not irrelevant, but the economic analysis isn't enough to explain this situation. We're looking at a moral and theological crisis. A greater degree of urgency is absolutely necessary.
It is that time of year again to save babies by providing ultrasounds with our friends at Preborn. You know how this goes. We've done it every single year. At this time, all you have to do is pick up the phone and say, I want to provide a free ultrasound to a girl. Give her the chance to see the truth of what's happening in her body. Every $28 helps do that, saving one baby. $280 can do that, help save 10 babies. More does more. The phone number is 833-850-2229. 833-850-BABY. Join us saving babies with Preborn again this year. We're going to save hundreds of babies, one at a time, 2 or 5 or 10 at a time. That phone number again is 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/baby.
AM 560. The Answer.
Now you know why. You've never saw Verlon on Jeopardy. I'll take Anonymous for 1,000, Alex. Huh? Greg in LaGrange.
Hi, Shaun. How are you?
Wonderful.
I would, well, first of all, James Brown, Live and Low Down, 1963.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's good stuff, baby. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Oh.
Do you ever see The Interview? I'm single, I'm ready to mingle, baby. Oh, we used to have that. I'll play it tomorrow.
James Brown was so intimidating on stage and so charismatic, the Rolling Stones wouldn't follow him on because they felt they couldn't hold his jockstrap.
I love it. Well, I'm a big fan.
Anyway, I totally agree with you and what you and EJ said about getting families back together and family formation and things to build out our own population base in this country. But to do that, we need to tackle a lot of the reasons why young adults no longer want to have children. And that's because they can't afford it. There's got to be a way to get affordability back, and we need to do it aggressively.
You know, I have a big issue with the word affordability because it has so much ambiguity. What's affordability? I mean, any level of income, there are things that are not affordable except the uber wealthy, right? And I'm sure you've lived through this, or you know this. No matter how much you make, the more you pay in taxes. I mean, no matter how much you make. So say you make $150 or $250 or $350,000. You make $350,000, you pay $150,000 if you have a good account in taxes, right? So you got $200,000, but you make $350. So where are you going to want to live? Can you buy a house in Hinsdale? No. Can you pay take, right? So there's always, affordability is a moving target, right? It's like happiness. Happiness is individual. Affordability is individual. There are people out there, like my mother, I don't think she ever had more than $5,000 in her life. I never saw her unhappy. She didn't care about affordability. She cared about happiness. So affordability is a political word. What we demand, right, is to understand the cost basis. So would gas be affordable without 4 layers of taxes in Illinois? Well, the answer is Alabama. Yeah, it's $1.50 less. So you know what I mean? So it's such a moving word, and it's used as a blanket because gas is affordable in Mississippi. It's not affordable in Illinois. It's not affordable in California. So they hide behind these words of ambiguity. When the reality is, the play is erosion of the assets of anybody who's not rich, delivering equality through mediocrity. That's the game.
Very, very well played, because you're right. I was ambiguous, and I didn't use the proper terminology. What we need to do is we need to get this whole tri-headed monster that we have causing these problems under control. And we need to do it by breaking down regulation and simplifying things, making things easier, not harder. Chip away the taxes. And to do that, we're going to need to get people in Congress and win the midterms.
You know, if you want health care affordable.
Shaun, real quickly, the only guy that I think is worth a hill of beans in the Senate is Ron Johnson.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. I love him to death. Here's the thing, though, you have to understand about this word, why it's such a shield and a weapon at the same time. Never forget what Obamacare is really called. Affordable Care Act, Greg. And it raised premium levels 400% plus. 400% plus. And you got the balls to call it affordable. That's why I avoid that word. And if you hear it coming out of the mouth of a Democrat, grab your wallet. Thank you, Greg. Sorry I didn't get to you, James. We'll be back in 21. Fastest show on radio, isn't it, Squirrel? Glad to have you back. Glad to see you didn't get sunburned.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where